What's up, guys? For this session, so let's see, we have actually not moved too much in terms of what we've done after 11, and you can see we had this large consolidation, but usually it's a common pattern when we have a lunch reversal to have a continuation. Although you can also see we have come down and touched the top of our previous day's candle. So I'm wondering if that is going to act almost as a immediate rebalance for the coming days to then blow out these highs. Again, we have that 2 p.m. news coming in. So we're going to have to wait and see what happens. I'm not expecting a whole lot of volatility, but what I am hoping is we see something similar to, these groups of candles right here. I'm hoping we see a move like that that can kind of tip its hands in a specific direction, whether it's downside or upside. If you look, let me just blow up this 1 minute chart. If you look, we have a lot of buy side that we've just kind of really melted down throughout the day. So we have a lot of buy side. We have the opening range gap. It wouldn't be crazy to think that the FOMC median minutes could stimulate an upside move that really retraces. I think it could also stimulate a downside move to this new week opening gap. The thing is, if we do end up moving towards the new week opening gap, that's really all the only target I would like to use. I wouldn't try and target anything lower than the new week opening gap just because we'd be entering back into, if you see on the daily, this consolidation range. And I would want to make sure I would need to wait for us to break below this low, which it might do. It might do. Let's see what the news ends up giving us. I do like where we put this bottom in though. So again, this bottom that we're putting in is, in my opinion, a great bottom for this daily candle. So maybe this daily candle, what it really came down here to do was to create no inefficiency, no fair value gap, touch the top of that, and we're going to see a really large wick form today. But we got about 9 minutes left. So let's see. I'm going to take a quick look at ES. I feel like ES, see if ES is telling the same story. Very similar story. So ES also came down, touched the top of the previous day's wick. So again, in the context of, and oh wow, I hadn't looked at ES yet today. If you can see, the ES retracement is actually a lot higher. The lunch retracement is a lot higher than NASDAQ. So again, remember I talked about our this morning I talked about how our higher time frame narrative is bullish, and with such a large run up after leaving this area, this could just be on the higher time frame a very large retracement to go higher. You can see ES came so really high off those lows, taking out a lot of swing highs. Really, look at all this buy side we still have to clean up though. Yeah, you can see it retraced. What was that? 12. Retraced right at 126. Came back up. So let's mark out this lunch high. Down here, we have the lunch low. We'll do the same on NASDAQ. Yeah, I'm going to stick to NASDAQ just because remember this market maker sell model is a lot cleaner on NASDAQ. NASDAQ seems to be being a little more precise the last few days. But really this month, as we go into the holiday season. Again, on the 1 hour, so you can see us wick tapped into this order block right here. So I think our higher time frame narrative of upside, I like what these hourly, even down to the hourly chart is really telling us. Now, if you go down to the 15-minute, it can make you feel a little bearish just because, we had this large sell-off and a lot really changes between the hourly and the 15. You get a lot more candles. You see a lot more swing highs and swing lows. But I'm really gonna kind of stick to this hourly chart. I really like the hourly in terms of direction. And as you can see, we haven't had a swing high form on the hourly really yet. So even if you want to make the argument that we're going to go lower, um, we could even more of a retracement upwards just to go lower could be due. But I do like upside. Okay, so let's see what 2 p.m. 2 o'clock gives us. Let me okay, I'm gonna pull something up. This is on Twitter. Let's see if I can have it pop up here. So, this is a Twitter account. It's called Looney Traders. I really like what she has. She posts a lot of like infographics that really simplify a lot of ICT concepts. I'm trying to, I wish I could zoom in on this one right here. So this right here I know it's really hard for you to see, and my apologies for not being able to zoom later, but it kind of what it depicts is this intraday pattern of AM session decline with a PM rally. And what kind of happens is you can see right here you have this peak that peaks at a specific higher time frame PD array, retraces to another, probably like an hourly PD array. You have a consolidation in the lunchtime, and then what you do is it has a rally higher into the PM session. And I want to see if that is the narrative that plays out today. So this morning on the live stream, we broke down this market maker sell model that reversed right at the tip of this. You can see it tapped right into that volume imbalance on the higher time frame, and we retraced. So this is all in the hourly, tapping into this order block, hourly order block. You can see we wicked into it, delivered buy side and sell side, and it returns to the top of this consolidation. So I'd want to see us get above this high right here, this lunch high. Again, I think if you look at the 15, it kind of looks like a retracement up to go lower. If you look at the hourly, it's really just in between this. So once we made this high, this run up, this high, this is the next really lower, higher low, higher swing low, which makes it hard because it's really just back to right here. Okay, we have the meeting minutes. See if price, how volatile price acts. I'm not really expecting anything too crazy, but it's definitely safer to not be in a trade. Wow. Probably like the first 2 minutes going into 2 o'clock. 2 or 3. Remember, focus on where the bodies close. I'm going to go over to the dollar real quick. One thing we talked about was the dollar retracing to possibly use this daily fair value gap as an inversion. And we haven't touched it yet. We are a decent ways away. So I just want to point that out. ES. Okay, so we opened at 2, came down, took out this low, opened again, came up, printed a wick above that, but now I want to see if we continue above that. Again, a wick is enough to indicate a market structure shift. A body is a good confirmation of direction. But that whole market structure shift thing can be difficult because you see this and it's like, how do you define the difference between a sweep of liquidity here and a market structure shift here? Focus on where the bodies close and where they stay. You see how the line in the background here, if it decides to show up, is the dollar. So the dollar breaking the low. Would like it if we had a few candles like this that formed a fair value gap. What I wouldn't want to see is kind of a wick. I'm a lot more interested in upside trades, so I will hold off. Notice how if you draw out the fibs on this 5-minute wick, we came down almost just about perfectly to the consequent encroachment of that wick right here. We want to see this 5-minute candle body really respect that wick consequent encroachment if we were to see upside. The dollar, let's see what the dollar wants to do. It didn't want to continue when breaking below this low, and now it's turning around. So I want to see if it continues up towards that high. That would be pretty bearish. But remember, above this high, we do have that daily fair value gap that I said we could use as an inversion. So just in the context, that's why usually what I do is I go look at the dollar, map out where the dollar is at. So then when I'm at this screen, I can pull up the 5-minute chart and kind of have some context as to where we are. I think on this 5-minute, if we come down to that constant encroachment, respect it, and then the next candle we come up and start closing candles above these highs, that would be very indicative to upside. Again, we do have this dollar rising. But remember, it's not one for one with the dollar. They don't move in perfect lockstep. So I'm going to go over the dollar real quick. See how close we are to this inversion? So you can see the dollar going up, and you're like, oh, I'm not going to trade bullishly because the dollar is going up. But the dollar could just tap this, and it doesn't have to. The movement between where it is now and this orange area, just because it moves, say, X amount of handles, does not mean that on the other time frames we have to move that amount of handles as well. But while I'm saying that, we are dropping below. Again, if we get really heavy, I'd like to see that candle close below this wick. ES didn't get below. Dollar is looking strong. A little hesitant. I don't really want to go short. Just I'm saying that now because we have this fair value gap here. And while we do have the new week opening gap below us, I kind of want to stay in line with our higher time frame narrative. Dollar still hasn't touched that. I'm not going to enter that short just because, again, I want to try and keep my trades in line with our higher time frame narrative. See what price does to it. Again, this one is, so this silver bullet, in context of the silver bullet, this one is not the most clear just because we haven't really swept. We have these two pools of liquidity right here, and neither of them are too obvious. It's 50-50 on which one it could be going for right now. And look, yeah, so if you would have entered that, your stop could have been, you probably would have been stopped out. Again, on this hourly chart, loving the hourly lately. Measure out the hourly wick, you can see this low is right on that consequent encroachment. I would love to see some strength to the upside. See this 5-minute down close candle as a bullish order block, and then shifting above this high with a close above it could indicate that we are now running buy side. With the dollar dropping, this fair value gap right there. I would enter one of these long, one of these fair value gaps. What just happened? Okay, well, I don't know if you saw that. I thought it was. What just happened? Okay. Um, that was kind of crazy. What did I do? Did I click a sell order? I did buy. I thought I did buy stop. No, I don't think I have any open. Okay, I don't know what happened right there, but we're going to continue with the plan. I'll just use these buttons. Maybe I need to reload my trading view. Okay, so I'm watching the dollar. It's breaking below these lows. We are getting above this high. That little finicky thing with the buttons right there kind of freaked me out. So ES hasn't taken those highs yet. So that is the lunch high. It's the lunch buy side. Let's be patient. I think I would still. I'm just gonna wait. So I came up and ran that lunch high. I would have preferred a strong close above that. If I was to enter any of these fair value gaps long, it would be this one that we still have mapped out just because that is in the 50% range. I'm going to hold off on it. I think if we are moving upwards, we have plenty of room for an entry. Dollar, okay, dollar's continuing to drop, it seems. I'm paying attention to the bodies on these 5 minutes. When we printed this down close and then printed this up close and we closed above it, I wanted to see this next 5 minute fair value gap this morning forming to really continue and print another candle as big as this. The fact that we came up, laid a wick above this lunch high, and are coming back down. So I'll enter one there. Put our stop here. I like that because if we do come down lower and take this low, then what really is happening is we're running this buy side to then run the sell side, and that will be very obvious. We can kind of change our narrative right there. I'm a little cautious because because of that SMT on ES didn't get above these highs. So it makes it kind of seem a little more like this was just a sweep of liquidity. Um, if we were to get below this fair value gap and close a body below it, I would probably try and use it as an inversion or kind of like a breaker model. But the dollar does seem to be trying to make some lower lows. Um, I like how our bodies are staying in the upper portion of this fair value gap. I would have liked to see a little more sensitivity when we did enter this fair value gap. And I'm paying attention to just these 5-minute candles. Again, I'm not super used to how NASDAQ trades, as I do trade ES more. Um, we have the dollar dropping, but yeah, I think I'm going to exit this just because I don't like how we swept this and then didn't get sensitive off the top of this um, fair value gap. If we close below it, I will start looking for downside. But I think if we did have upside, let's see where this body closes. We do have the dollar dropping. So wait for a little more confirmation, because if you look at the 5-minute, we're just kind of laying one body over another right now. And while I do think our structure is supporting upside, because 5-minute, if you measure out the mean threshold, if this is going to act like an order block, then we did respect its mean threshold with this candle body close, and we opened at it. So I really want to see this 5-minute candle expand away from this mean threshold. And if it does, I think we'll be able to also catch an entry to the upside. But as you can see, kind of this big move down, big move up, came up, took that lunch buy side, and then was just a wick with an SMT. Now we have the dollar. The dollar does seem to be making lower lows. Just being patient here. As you can see, we are 5, 10, 15. We are 25 minutes in, and in terms of the 5 minutes, we haven't had much of a direction. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait for us to actually get some movement out of this little range right here. And then we will find the first entry once we start closing some bodies. I wanted us to get sensitive off this fair value gap just because I wanted this to act as a balanced price range. As you can see, we have this sell side delivery here, buy side delivery. So when we came up and when we were returning to it, I really wanted it to just lay a wick. Dollars dropping. We had this second 5-minute candle. It looked like it respected because it opened at that mean threshold of this order block. So we didn't get a close below it. Dollars looking decently heavy. Yeah, just gonna play the waiting game right now. I don't think there has been a fair value gap that's delivered 10 handles for NASDAQ. There's no entry into this. We would have got immediately stopped out. No retracement into this. We entered at the top. It didn't move. 10 handles to the upside yet. So we wait. The dollar's moving its way down. I'm liking upside so far. Dollars dropping. You can see all these bodies are in the top 50% of this fair value gap. What really made me get out of that trade was seeing the SMT between NASDAQ and ES right here, and the fact that that was the lunch liquidity. So for a second, when I noticed the SMT, I was like, oh, it took lunch and it wants to go for the lunch sell side, took the lunch buy side, and targets the lunch sell side. But after kind of watching how these candles respected this upper 50%, the dollar dropping, I think it's fair to say it could still go up. But if we were to get below, close the body below this fair value gap, I'd probably start targeting down. It has been a rough PM session. We got 30 minutes so far. We're just about right where we started at 2. Okay, so closing some bodies below it. Just being patient. Okay, so I was talking about this as an order block, and look, 1, 2, 3, even 4 now. Closing 4 candles below, or respecting that mean threshold. I'm gonna wanna, if we do, to confirm upside, I want to see us close above this fair value gap. Again, as you can see, we're in this range right here. These are some rough 5-minute candles. And after seeing this low be put in, I feel like it wants to put in some upside. This might have been one of the hardest silver bullet sessions I've seen to read. I guess, if you tried to enter, if anyone entered this one to go short, it would have got 10 handles, but then it came right back up. So, wow. This has been this is a rough 5-minute chart. Yeah, so again, just to reiterate, because of this SMT on NASDAQ that also took the lunch buy side, I am very hesitant to, that's why I exited that long we were in, and I want to wait because I think it could target the lunch sell side. I'm a little surprised that once we can see it barely close this body below this fair value gap, it didn't continue and it retraced up like that. But I want to see some heaviness to the downside before I would enter. And I really want to see the heaviness to the upside. Like right now, you can frame both pretty well. So we're going to wait. Okay, we got the dollar. Looks like it's going back up. I think the hourly still tells that narrative that we were talking about going into the 2 o'clock hour. Especially with this current hourly candle that's printing, how it kind of made that low right here that respects the consequent encroachment of this hourly wick. And as you can see right here, so we had this, I think this whole pattern right here was really kind of just knocking out both sides of liquidity. You know how on more volatile news events like CPI or like the actual, rate announcements, you might get, what you'll notice is on those really high impact news events, it'll like kind of go into a range around lunch or maybe even the whole morning. And then I'm talking the ones that, really, really get volatile. It'll it'll go both ways and it'll just sweep buy side and sweep sell side. I feel like that's kind of, you can see it in like a smaller fractal pattern right here. You can see it came down. You can see this initial volatility, but then it came down, closed a few candles below some lows, came up, wicked above this high, and then it just enters consolidation. I don't think I'd be too interested until we see us get above either this high or this high or this low. Like you can see ES right there. Made that lower low on ES. Sort of. The dollar looks like it wants to deliver some sell side, which I feel like would send us up. Okay. Again, when we're in conditions like this, I place a lot of priority on where the candle bodies close. Okay. I like what's happening for upside. I want to see a continuation. Candles like this to the upside. Again, see these two candles right here. We want to be patient and make sure we don't print something like this, where it goes up and then comes down. Okay, so we closed the body above this one. You see we made this little fair value gap right here. We entered it. I would like to see, again, I would like to see us close. It would show that price is now, respecting PD arrays and it's not just kind of randomly moving sideways. So I like what's happening right now. I want to see us close above this down close candle and then treat it as an order block to the upside. The dollar looks like it wants to continue lower. Okay, not ideal for upside. Again, I just want to see it start respecting PD arrays again before I start entering a trade. Okay. Notice how ES didn't print any bodies above these highs that it was consolidating through. It's making a lower low right here. Okay. After coming above this consolidation, I really think it should break below these lows, or else I think we're in seek and destroy conditions. Um, Especially with ES making this lower low. If Nasdaq doesn't continue lower, then I think it's best to just call it a day. Does look like it wants to go lower. Want to wait for it to close below these lows. As you can see, ES is already doing so. Yeah, this might have been the most rough silver bullet session I've ever seen. I still don't think the only way anybody could have gotten five handles out of this is if they entered this fair value gap right here, thinking it was going to continue lower, and then got out right at this low. Dollar seems like it's making a lower low. Wait, let me pull up the executions, because when we first did that first entry, I don't know why I feel like I tried to put that limit order right here, and then it filled me up here, filled me up there. but then it said I was negative 90 ticks, which was weird. That was a whole weird scenario. And we re-entered here, sold down here just because it wasn't behaving the way I wanted it to. And you know, if you look at what ended up playing out, it's probably for the better. Okay, you can see we're finally getting above that high. The dollar dropping. ES made that SMT low. If it should really continue above that high. If it doesn't, I will probably log off. Okay, good. Good. I still don't really trust it. I'd want to see a 5-minute candle close. The dollar is looking heavy. I like what it's doing. I'm just gonna really need to demand a little more because of how ugly it's been. Again, yeah, like I want to see it start closing candle bodies above highs in the 1 minute. I don't think we're really safe until it does it on the 5-minute either. But it's 2:59. Okay, enter that little fair value gap. Personally, I'd probably pass on that just because of all of this. Okay, cool. That's These candles are finally printing like you'd want to see. And now what I want to see is some closes. I want to see it continue strongly above this high, yes. And I would possibly enter a fair value gap to the upside as long as we continue closing candles above this high. I don't like how big that wick is. We have about two minutes left until this 5-minute candle closes again. I said I'd like to see a 5-minute candle close above these highs. So the dollar is continuing downwards. Yeah. Akram, balls deep, long, full margin. Well, I hope you held on to that trade, Akram, because it seems like it might have been balls deep at one point, but paid out. The stop, the like where you really should have held the stop is this low right here. But again, I didn't want to be sitting in something like this. The fact that we also didn't close this 5-minute body above these has me a little concerned. Um, I'll just say it. I don't really know. I don't know. If we respect this PD array to the upside, then that would be cool. But if we come down and disrespect this fair value gap and return into this range, then I don't know. Okay, not bad. See what if you entered there. You just needed that would be 10. Could have your stop at the bottom. Okay, okay. I'm logging off now. Um, I will try and be on tomorrow morning, but I do not think I will trade tomorrow afternoon. Appreciate you guys for sticking around. Enjoy the rest of your day.